Hey there, folks. Meteorologist Matt Barrentine here. Sorry, it took me a second to get the audio up here and get things cranking, but we are cooking now and get you the latest here on Marco and Laura. Once again, thank you here for joining us here tonight. I'm going to talk about these two systems. We've had some big changes today, especially with Marco, and it's going to have impacts here across our area. Likely we'll see some impacts from Laura as well. There's Laura right here. It's over Hispaniola. Here is Marco tonight. It's now moving into the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico here this evening and moving quickly. And that's the big change, is how fast it's moving. And for that reason, since it's moving fast, we are now under watches. Got tropical storm watches in both Mobile and Baldwin County, George County, Mississippi, that blue shade. And then the purple shade there for the Mississippi counties is actually a hurricane watch, since it's forecasted to make landfall as a Category 1 storm. So that's what we're looking at with those alerts. We also have a storm surge watch for parts of our coastal areas in Alabama. I think the west end of Dauphin Island, I think the causeway down there, the causeway in the bay, and then Fort Morgan Peninsula, some of our vulnerable areas. We could see 2 to 4 feet of storm surge with Marco as it makes landfall. So let's go ahead and check out Marco. Winds now of 65 miles an hour. The good news is with Marco, it has sort of been holding steady all day long here. So it has been holding steady. It went through a phase last night and early this morning where it intensified, and then it just sort of leveled off the rest of the day. Now that it's moving into the southern Gulf, it is going to have to contend with some upper level winds that are fairly hostile for it. It likely will gain a little more strength. It's only 10 miles an hour away from hurricane strength, and the forecast is for it to get to hurricane strength, but then just sort of stay there at the Category 1 level here. So here's what we're looking at with that forecast path with Marco making its way here off to the north. And the big change here is the turn. For days, the model was saying that the turn would happen before the coastline of Louisiana and then push Marco over towards to Texas. And the reason why that was because there's a ridge building in from the west. I'll show you that a little bit later. The thing is, this thing is moving fast enough to where it's kind of going to beat that ridge. It's not going to make that turn most likely until it's already hit land there somewhere around Louisiana. You'll see that here as I close in on the official forecast path track of this storm. And you can see the landfall here, and the center part's right on the mouth of the Mississippi River. And then it goes all the way to the east, almost over to our area. Dauphin Island is just right there. Regardless of where this exactly goes in here, we'll still be on the right side of the storm. And these storms, they rotate counterclockwise. It means the winds are coming like this off the water. That makes the right side the stronger side because it goes over water the whole time. So every one of our locals knows this. The right side of a storm is the wrong side you want to be on, and that's where we're going to be. Now, I know it's just you look at it and say, well, it's just a minimal hurricane, and yeah, it is just a minimal hurricane. We'll get through it okay, but it still caused quite a mess, particularly on Dauphin Island and some of our vulnerable areas, and it's going to cause some issues. And things you need to still take care of is things like, going out to your yard and taking care of the things that could blow around, lawn chairs and the umbrellas that you have there on the tables. Take care of all that stuff so it doesn't get blown away. And trampolines. Please do something with those trampolines. Always get videos of those things flying around because people they don't tie them down. So here it is. Once again, this is Marco. Look at the time here. That is 1 p.m. on Monday afternoon. 1 p.m. on Monday afternoon. Today is Saturday night. We'll have our first rain bands with this system coming in tomorrow night. So it's moving quick. We're not going to have a whole lot of time to sort of get ourselves geared up for that one. And then there's Laura, winds of 50 miles per hour. It's going to be kind of working its way in right behind Marco. Let's go ahead and check out its track. So it's going to be next couple of days working its way along Cuba. And on Monday afternoon, when Marco is making landfall somewhere on the northern Gulf Coast, this one will be coming off of Cuba and entering the southern Gulf of Mexico. So one making landfall, one in the southern Gulf. And then as it goes along, it's going to take a very similar path. Remember that the middle of the other cone was right here on the mouth of the Mississippi. I mean, we're just talking a few miles here. Incredible. 2 days later, this would be on Wednesday. You do notice it is a little bit stronger, 85 mile per hour winds. Boy, we are just lucky that Laura is going to move quickly. That is the only thing holding this this one back from becoming a monster of a storm. If it were going half the speed, forget about it. This would be a monster of a storm. But thankfully, it's going to be moving so fast, just not going to have enough time over the open Gulf likely to get all that strong. Likely, though, will be larger than Marco. So even though you say, well, that's farther away from us. Yeah, but this storm is likely to be larger than Marco. Marco is a fairly small storm. So it could actually reach some of the same impacts that we get from Marco all the way over to our area 2 days later. And then keep in mind, the forecast path, I mean, we're in the cone. I mean, if the way this ridging works out, I'm going to show you the ridge in a second. If that ridge breaks down enough, it could end up into our area. And we could get direct impacts from Laura. That is not out of the question here at this point. So we still need to keep an eye on all that. All right, so what am I talking about with the steering currents of all this? Well, it all boils down to this thing right here. That is the upper level ridge, the Bermuda Ridge. It's a feature that's always there. And think of it like a mountain. And the only thing that's different about it is that this mountain moves, and it can grow and shrink too. So it moves, it grows, it shrinks. But the thing is, systems can't go over the top of that. You can't, a hurricane or tropical storm can't go over the top of that mountain. They go around. They have to go around. And that's what they do, and that's what Laura and Marco have been doing here. I'll put this into motion. So here comes Marco. Essentially what's happening is that Marco is moving along so quickly now, it's going to sort of beat the ridge. Instead of getting right about here and then getting pushed to the west, it's going to actually be able to make landfall before this is able to move enough to push it. Because this high is moving to the west. So it'll start to nudge it once it hits land. So that's what happens there. And then it actually begins to weaken, and that's going to make Laura's forecast a little bit interesting as well, because it's just not as strong. And if it weakens enough, it could let it go even more east. So it depends on how strong this is, exactly how far west Laura goes. Most of the models right now are saying somewhere in South Louisiana. Most of the models. So I mean, there's still, once again, like I said, a chance that Laura could make more of a turn up towards our area if this weakens enough, or if it even pushes back a little bit here to the east. Like I said, it's a mountain that changes and moves. That's the difficulty about forecasting these things, and especially when you got two in a row, it's creating some conditions that we just haven't quite seen yet. So that's Marco, that's Laura. Those are the two systems we are keeping an eye on. For everybody that's joined us here on our Facebook page tonight, I do appreciate it. Coming up in just a few minutes. Myself, Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith, will be going live here on Fox 10. I've started doing that this afternoon, but once we started getting this new information about Marco and how much closer it's going to be most likely to us, and the fact that we will get some impacts out of this. And let me put this up here because I know a lot of people are like, well, what impacts are we looking at? Well, Marco on Monday, Laura on Wednesday, and I think we're going to get very similar levels of impacts out of this. From what we're looking at right now, if it stays within, if each of them stay within those paths that the hurricane center has, and that's still a big if, okay, so please take it like that, we'll see upper end tropical storm type of impacts, which will be especially felt in our coastal areas. We'll certainly have heavy rain bands wrapping around both of these, and we'll be on the right side, so we'll get some heavy rain bands from time to time. There's also going to be some level of storm surge regardless, whether either storm comes really close to us, or they go off a little bit more to the Mississippi, or farther into Louisiana. We'll get some level of storm surge in our vulnerable areas, like west of Dauphin Island, like the causeway going down to Dauphin Island, like the causeway across the bay, some parts of Fort Warren, and several other vulnerable areas. We'll be dealing with storm surge. And then in those heavy rain bands, there's on the right-hand side of a tropical landfalling system, there's always the possibility of isolated, quick spin-up tornadoes. That's always a possibility with any landfalling tropical system, so we have that possibility twice this week. So I'll be watching out for all of that here in the coming days. Like I said, Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith is here as well with me. We're going to be doing updates top and bottom of the hour. We have boxing going on right now on Fox 10, but we'll break in at 8:30 and then at 9 o'clock. Then, of course, once boxing is completely done, we will have our newscast after that. Through the day tomorrow, just keep tuning into Fox 10. We'll keep you updated throughout the day, breaking in here every half hour, top and bottom of the hour, all day long on your Sunday as well. And, of course, we have Fox 10 News tomorrow morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Then we got the evening show from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. So we're going to be all over this for you, keeping you in the know here with both of these storms, Marco and Laura. Just keep in mind, Marco, the system has sped up. We'll start getting the first rain bands by tomorrow night, and overnight Sunday on into Monday morning, we'll really start getting into Marco with a landfall sometime during the day on Monday. So get ready. It's going to be a busy next several days dealing with all this tropical weather. I'm meteorologist Matt Barrentine. We leave you here once again with a 3D look at these storms. Have yourselves a great evening. We will catch up with you soon.